Caesar, Rocket, and Maurice are back for the third entry in the Planet of the Apes reboot remake. And second time directed by Matt Reeves.
War for the Planet of the Apes picks up a couple of years after the events of Dawn. Basically, the humans are out hunting the apes. They're trying to go for the warlord Caesar. And the monkeys and Caesar and co are all hiding out in the bush. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to keep their home in the bush and just be left alone. Yep. But the humans just keep attacking. And eventually circumstances lead to Caesar getting a bit of a vendetta and heading after the human army. And he leaves his family behind. And it's really Caesar's personal journey, going from that point on, heading after this colonel played by Woody Harrelson. Overall, it's Caesar's journey, and the trilogy overall is based on Caesar. He's the main character, and definitely he's one of the best characters we've had in the 21st century. Film characters, just a lead character that each film is like a new story, a new arc he has, and overall a massive arc, stretching these all three films, and it's kind of incredible to think just a chimpanzee would be so, engaging to watch, This movie is basically dealing with his decisions and the consequences of those decisions. Mm-hmm. And it really tests him. And
it's very character-driven.
It brings him back to his core and his core values. And it's interesting because he doesn't have much dialogue in the film.
Yeah, there's hardly
you understand all that.
Yeah, it was the same as the second one where all the ape scenes, the kind of sign language, a lot of subtitles. I feel like it's a movie that's not much dialogue, but you don't need it all the time just because it's very visually...
The best parts of the movie were where there was no dialogue and it was almost like a silent film in the way it was being told, especially the first sort of 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
There's so much silence, there's just music playing, and it's like, what's going on, you're following it well, and it's really well told.
A lot of focus on close-ups and facial expressions and just visually telling the story instead of lots of exposition, which comes in later. We'll get there eventually. We'll get some complaints. But like we've said, Caesar's a great character, but he's wonderfully performed by Andy Serkis. One of my favourite actors, and this dude needs an Oscar now.
He absolutely does.
He's so amazing at his performance, and when you watch the behind-the-scenes features, just the amount of effort he puts into playing Caesar is incredible. The amount of detail he gets into,
So another lot of the credit of Andy Serkis's performance, I suppose you'll have to also credit Weta Digital. The visual effects that they did in this film are insane. It's so gorgeous, and it's just the next level. Like, they've just set the bar high again.
Yeah, like there's moments where they're covered in snow and it just absolutely looks like a monkey covered in snow.
The elements in this movie is just the constant interaction between CGI characters, and it's just completely flawless. There's never a shot in the film where you're like, oh, that was CGI.
Yeah, I believed it. I totally believed it. At the end, when Andy Serkis' name popped up, I was like, that's right, that wasn't a real chimpanzee. You just fall for it. And the orangutan, Maurice, looks so real.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's next level. I wonder if these films will age, We'll look back and go, it looked pretty bad. I'm wondering if it will actually stand the test of time. I'm curious to see in the years to come.
Another standout of the film was the cinematography by Michael Cerason. That is beautiful, right from the opening shot. That holds for a really long time, and it's just gorgeous. It's this really slow focus pull that just comes in.
You really get a good scope in this film. Every shot is beautiful to look at, and they have a lot of wide shots, and you get a lot of horrific imagery of the apocalypse, and
and it sets the tone of the film is really well captured with this. Like, it really sets a mood which is in tune with the story.
The first film you really relied on James Franco as the lead. He was like the sympathetic human character, and Caesar was like a minor character. Second one, you still had some human characters, but this film, it was Caesar the whole way. You still had Nova, who was the sympathetic human character, and Woody Harrelson as the colonel, as the villain. But it's like at this point, Caesar's he's a well-established lead character, so he doesn't need that human companion with him. It's good enough just watching him. Actually, bringing up Woody Harrelson, what do you think of him as a villain?
I don't know. I'm mixed. I think I liked his character. I think
he's a real nasty guy, and at that portion of the film, there was just a lot of nasty stuff happening. And I mean, that's consistent with the trilogy. Each film has some horrible stuff. So but I just felt like that part of the film was a real drag. I was kind of getting sick of it. Every time he showed up on screen, I was like, oh, I got to deal with some more horrible stuff.
I think it was like they were really trying to nail in the war is hell kind of aspect of the thing, because the film, despite not having too many big battles in it, it's all about the consequences of war almost. And
talking about Woody Harrelson, there was a scene with him where he kind of was talking to Caesar, and there was so much exposition. It was a massive dump.
It
took me out of the film. I was like, this is hilarious.
I thought the same thing. It was just, I feel like that was the studio influence on the film. Like I feel like they had Caesar's story clear cut. They told it with not much dialogue. It was all just music, and like you got what was happening, so you could still follow the story. But the studio were like, some people might miss things and not pick it up, so you need to explain the world of this. And then they just had this one scene that goes forever. Yeah. And they just dump.
It's such a shame because like the first half was real good, and that moment where it should really we could pick up the pieces, we can figure out what's going on. Yeah, there were a lot of connections to the original in this film compared to the first.
And I didn't like that stuff. It just kept taking me out of the movie, like the Nova thing and stuff.
This is a reboot. It's kind of a reboot. Like in the original, it was like the nuclear bombs that destroyed the Earth, and this is a virus. So it's kind of like a reboot. So there was just reminding us that we're getting close to that point now, catching up timeline-wise. I mean, I liked it because, hey, Planet of the Apes holds a special place in my heart. I was named after the main character from Planet of the Apes, Captain George Taylor. It's true.
Cornelius.
Damn you all to hell!
Oh, I think the main ape, wasn't it? Your name's not Cornelius. Cornelius.
No, my real name's Cornelius. So as far as action's concerned, there aren't a lot of action scenes in the movie.
Nah, it really only hits at the end of the film.
You get one at the beginning, like a quick action scene.
Oh, yeah.
And the rest of it, it's more of like a character piece, following Caesar and his journey, and it's sprinkles of action throughout it. But yeah, it's not like a action trilogy. Don't go into this film thinking you're going to get a badass action movie. I mean, the action's pretty badass, but yeah, it's really character-driven drama.
Yeah.
So this film, it's very dark, but there are moments of light in it, Like Nova, who is the young girl they come across, who is the mute girl from the original Planet of the Apes. Yeah. It's her as a young girl. She has a lot of nice moments with Caesar and Maurice and the rest of the apes. But yeah, then you just keep getting hit in the head with the dark shit, So it's like constant. But there's this beautiful scene with her in the camp. Don't want to spoil it, but it's a very long scene, no dialogue, and like a lot is addressed between the characters in the scene. I thought that was brilliant. These films have no right to be so good. They have so many things against them. You got a CGI lead, humans are the bad guys, no dialogue, but they work so well. Like they've worked so well, and I think definitely one of the greatest trilogies we've had since Lord of the Rings, in my opinion. I'm a big fan of these films, and this one. Good conclusion to the story. I can see them doing sequels from here, but I feel like they've wrapped things up nicely, and definitely a trilogy we'll look back on and say that was one of the best. So I was going to give it 8, but I'm going to give it a 9, kind of like a Return of the King, kind of like it deserves a 9. The whole trilogy is together. I think we'll look back on it and love it, so it's getting a 9 for me.
I'm probably going to disagree with the 9. For me, I really love the film. I love the visuals. I loved all Caesar's story. I loved all the character performances. Woody Harrelson was trying, but I think where the movie sort of falters mostly is the overall world story. Like the Caesar story is really good, and that pays off in the end. But I think all the stuff about the virus and what the humans were up to could have tied more into Caesar's story a bit cleaner, and that would have made it a much better film for me. I'm still going to give it a 7 because I think that's fair. But
way too low.
Yeah, it was so much good stuff in this film that if it just didn't have the bad stuff, it would have been.
See, I'd argue it's focused on Caesar and the apes, and the humans at this point. It's like they're at the wall, Humanity. It's the last of humanity, and their plot really affects the apes, but it's not the overall main thing.
I suppose they were quite figuratively stuck between a rock and a hard place, and they sort of led themselves to their own demise. And
anyway, enough about that. I think you're a fool for giving it a 7. So shame on you, Scott.
No, I think it deserves it. I really did like all the stuff I liked though was all like 10 out of 10. Like the first 40 minutes is a 10 out of 10. Like it's the start of it's really strong, but because of the end, I had to take it back to a 7.
Well, agree to disagree.
Apes together, strong.
Thanks, guys, for watching our review of War for the Planet of the Apes. Check out our other reviews, top 5s. We've got it's all there. Brilliant.
YouTube spew.
YouTube spew.
Like
yeah. Don't say that. It's terrible. Please check out the film. Let us know your opinions and check out some stuff. We've got some more stuff coming up. Should be good.
Heaps of stuff.
I love you guys. I love you.